Okay, folks, get ready because we're diving deep into one of those Champions League nights you just don't forget. Ajax 4, Real Madrid 1 back in 2019. You sent us articles, match reports, even Dutch commentary. I mean, clearly, this one stuck with you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just the scoreline, right? It's how they did it, Ajax. And
Yeah.
team budget's nowhere near Rails, and they just completely outclassed the reigning champs in their own stadium.
Right. Everyone thought it'd be close, especially after Real took the first leg 2-1 in Amsterdam. But at the Bernabeu, what happened was something else entirely.
Totally. And you want to grasp how big an upset this was, you got to rewind a bit. Real Madrid weren't just Champions League winners, they were dominant. 3 titles in a row, Modric, Kroos, Benzema, Bale, a whole galaxy of stars. They looked unbeatable.
So how did Ajax, mostly academy grads at this point, how'd they dismantle this force that seemed invincible?
It's fascinating because it wasn't a fluke or anything. This was years of planning, a commitment to a philosophy a lot of people thought was outdated. Total football.
Total football. Now remind us what that is exactly.
Right. It's a style where any player can play any position. It's all about fluidity, interchangeability, constant attack. Imagine like a machine where the parts can swap, rolls without missing a beat.
So it wasn't just individual skill. Ajax were a unit Real Madrid just couldn't handle it.
Precisely. And a key part of this tactical masterclass was Dusan Tadic.
Ah, Tadic. Pulling all the strings that night, 2 assists, a screamer of a goal, performance for the ages.
The thing about Tadic is he wasn't even a typical striker, Ten Hag, their manager. Used him as a false 9 center forward who drops back, creating space, confusing the defense.
So he wasn't just scoring, he was orchestrating Ajax's whole attack.
Exactly. And the Dutch commentary you sent it captures that moment. He scores perfectly. They call it a thunderbolt.
Courtois had no chance.
I bet the Ajax fans packed into that corner of the Bernabeu went wild. Must felt like the impossible was happening.
And while Ajax are playing this breathtaking attacking football, Real Madrid looked lost. Even with all their stars, they couldn't get past Ajax's press and movement. Some people said Real Madrid were just complacent, resting on their laurels after all those wins. Is that fair, though?
It's tempting to say they underestimated Ajax, but I think it's deeper than that. Real had their chances, even hit the woodwork a couple of times. But they just couldn't handle Ajax flexibility. It's like they were playing chess while Ajax was playing a whole different game.
So it wasn't lack of talent or effort. It was philosophies clashing, and that night, total football won out.
Exactly. And those goals from Ziyech and Neres, both set up by Tadic, just underlined it.
And don't forget Lasse Schön's free kick. Unbelievable from
Yeah.
that angle. Just icing on the cake. A perfect ending to an unforgettable performance.
That goal, it really sums up Ajax's fearlessness that night. Schoen, a veteran midfielder, steps up, pulls off this technically brilliant free kick with the same audacity and confidence that defined Ajax all night.
It was a statement. Not just winning, but doing it with style. But let's talk consequences. This wasn't just an upset. It had a huge impact on both clubs.
Absolutely. For Real Madrid, this was the end of an era, a brutal wake-up call that their dynasty was fading. For Ajax, it launched them back into the spotlight, a European powerhouse once again.
So it's bigger than just one match. Styles clashing, a changing of the guard. It sent shockwaves through football. But what about the human side? We've talked tactics and impact, but what about the emotions, the individual stories behind this night?
That's a great point. It wasn't just goals and tactics, it was dreams coming true and legacies being made.
You sent some Dutch newspaper clippings and wow, they really went all in.
Yeah. Ajax didn't just beat Real Lynch, they resurrected a legacy. I mean, that kind of sums it up.
It does feel like a turning point, not just a win.
Right. Ajax has this legendary history, the 70s, total football and all that.
Yeah.
This wins so many academy players, it felt like a return to that.
And what about Real Madrid's side? The Spanish press must have been rough.
Oh, yeah. The end of an era was everywhere. Calls for the manager to be sacked, accusations of complacency. You could feel how much this loss shook them.
It's amazing how one match can have such a big impact.
Totally. And about that impact, let's talk about the players. For those young Ajax guys, this wasn't just a win. It was like a global audition.
Right. De Jong, De Ligt, Van de Beek, everyone was talking of them after that. Where are they now?
Well, De Jong went to Barcelona, delete. Juventus Van de Beek had a bit at Man United. 3 of the biggest clubs in the world, all one of these guys who'd just taken apart Real Madrid.
Like that match launched them into the top tier of football.
Yeah.
What do you think drew those big clubs to them specifically?
It wasn't just talent. I mean, yeah, they were great. But what stood out was their tactical understanding, how comfortable they were in that total football system. They weren't just stars, they were smart. Players who could fit into complex tactics. That's what top clubs want.
So Ajax winning wasn't just a win. It was a showcase for their whole philosophy, their youth development, almost like the whole club won, not just the players on the pitch.
And that's why it meant so much. It wasn't just one team beating another. It was an idea, a style of play proving itself. It gave hope to smaller clubs' academies that maybe they could do what Ajax did.
It's a reminder that football isn't always about money or big names. Sometimes it's the ideas, the strategy, the years of work that lead to a moment like this.
Absolutely. And amidst all the tactics and legacies, we can't forget the pure emotion of that night.
Oh, for sure. The Dutch commentary is a roller coaster. The guys yelling, laughing, almost crying. You can feel the disbelief, the joy. It's contagious.
And then you have the silence at the Bernabeu as Ajax scored goal after goal. You can practically feel the shock, the disappointment from the Real Madrid fans.
You said earlier the Spanish press called it the end of an era. Looking back, was it really?
It's complicated. Real Madrid haven't been that good since 2018, that's for sure. But did this one loss start their decline? Hard to say. Football's unpredictable.
Maybe it was a wake-up call. They couldn't rely on past glory. They had to adapt to stay on top. Or maybe it was just one of those nights where everything worked for Ajax and nothing worked for Real Madrid.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The unpredictability, the drama. We can analyze all we want, but there's always that bit of magic, of chance that makes football so captivating.
Speaking of captivating, I'm curious about one thing. We've talked about the impact on the clubs, the players, the fans. But what about Erik ten Hag, Ajax's manager? This was his tactical masterpiece.
Oh, that's where things get even more interesting. Yeah, this one match put Ten Hag on the map as like a top managerial prospect.
It wasn't just the win, it was the way he did it. Outcoaching Zidane, a legend with his bold attacking style, everyone was impressed.
And now he's at Man United, one of the biggest clubs. It's crazy how that night in Madrid played a role in that.
It really shows how one match can change everything. Open doors. I mean, in football, like in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to take risks, go against expectations, and you can get amazing results.
Exactly. We've talked a lot about the tactical side, but let's not forget the emotional side of this game.
Right. For Ajax fans, this wasn't just a win. It was like everything they believed in was proven right.
Absolutely. This team was built on a philosophy, developing young talent and seeing those kids beat the European champions in their own stadium. That must have been incredible for Ajax fans.
I read this article about an Ajax fan who went to Madrid for the game. He said it was the best night of his life, like a dream come true, seeing his team do the impossible.
And for Real Madrid fans, it was the opposite. Heartbreak, disappointment. They were used to winning, not being dominated.
The Spanish press was brutal. You said it earlier, they were in disbelief that their superstars could get outplayed like that.
It shows that even the best teams, the biggest dynasties, they can be beaten. There's always a team, a moment that can expose their weaknesses, bring them back down to earth.
That's what makes football so exciting, right? The unpredictability, the fact that anything can happen.
Well, exactly. We can analyze all we want, but it's the human element, the passion, the drama that keeps us hooked.
So we've covered a lot. The tactics, the impact, the emotions, the legacies. What do you think is the biggest takeaway from this match? What should our listeners think about after listening to us?
That's a good question. I think the main thing is that football has no absolutes, no guarantees. It's a sport where anyone can win. Giants can fall. One moment can change history.
It's a reminder to never underestimate belief, hard work, a team with a shared goal. And even in defeat, there are lessons to be learned, ways to grow, and chances to come back stronger.
Well said. And at the end of the day, football is about stories. And the story of Ajax beating Real Madrid is one we'll be talking about for years, inspiring dreams, reminding us that anything's possible.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a blast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and always keep that love for the beautiful game burning.